Happy New Year! We're back at the Encompass space for January 2022. A lot of us have been working on developing our comfort in front of the camera. We've been practicing together, and I'd like to now introduce Cynthia Haddon, who has taken this opportunity to read an original piece. Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Johanna, thank you. The name of this story is A Dirty Filthy Cabin. It's October 1900 in Palmerston, Ontario, and I'm standing outside a wooden cabin in the middle of a 50-acre field 40 miles outside of town. The ground is soggy, mushy, and wet, as it has been pouring rain most of the day. The day the town of Palmerston sent me to investigate the cabin in preparation for demolition. No history or record exists about who built it or when. To the town people, it's just always been there for as long as they can remember. But nobody knows anything about it. Oh, the children come and explore there once in a while, even after being told not to. But nobody has found anything of interest or importance. Looking at this desolate funereal cabin, I notice it is slightly lopsided, tilted to the right. As I walk towards the cabin, I see that the door, barely hanging on to its hinges, is slightly ajar. With some trepidation, I step inside. What first hits me is a musty, moldy, damp smell. If I touched the walls, they would be soft, like sponge. They're so soft, I wonder what's keeping them holding up and not surrendering to gravity and falling down on top of me. Water is leaking through the walls. The floor is grimy and slimy, almost too slippery to walk on. As I look around the room, I notice that there's a bed without a mattress, there's a bathroom without a door, and a kitchen sink and hot plate in the kitchen. Did anybody live here? How long ago? Who would have lived in such a place? Nobody could be living there now, could they? I look around, I don't see anybody until I look over at the window and I see a lady, somebody sitting there on the chair over by the window. I was really startled to find that somebody was actually living here. I called out to her and I said, yelled out, "Hello?" I kept staring at her for several minutes, hoping that I would hear a hello or who's there or something. No response. So I walk over to her, dreading what I might find. She's not breathing. "Who are you or were you?" I asked, looking at a stiff, cold body. "How long have you been dead? How long have you been living here all alone? What's your name? Do you have any relatives? Does anyone in Palmerston know you?" Looking at her, I feel so very sad for this poor lady living like this all alone. I promise her I will find out who she is. She at least deserves that. The next day her body was removed, and shortly after the cabin fell down, and $150,000 was found hidden in the floorboards. I will discover who she was. I will find the answers to the questions that died with her, like she was my own long-lost mother. An autopsy was done 2 days later, and her body remained in the morgue while I kept my promises to her. The coroner said she died of dehydration and malnutrition, and that she'd been dead for about 3 weeks. I placed an article in the local newspaper asking for someone who might know her to come forward. And first week, nobody did. Finally, the second week, a man walked into my office, and said his name was Thomas Wakefield. I knew her when we were in school together. Her name is Meredith Turcott. We didn't keep in touch after school ended. Last I heard, she married a man from Cloverdale, a town 60 miles from here. apparently, so the story goes, he abused her, so she must have left him and came upon this derelict cabin and decided to hide out from him there. As far as the money goes, I expect that she probably stole it from her husband, but too afraid to spend it, so it wouldn't draw attention to her. Well, it wouldn't have done much good for her, I say. The chief of police said the money was counterfeit. Such a sad story. That's why her husband never came looking for her. Turcotte is her married name. Her maiden name is Ferguson, Meredith Ferguson. Anyway, that's all I know about her. Well, thank you for coming and telling me about her story. I'd almost given up hope. I had one more promise to keep to Meredith Ferguson, and that was to buy a plot of land for her under a maple tree in the town cemetery. The headstone read, Meredith Ferguson, forever at peace.